to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor, and I've missed you. And I have a screaming headache today, but that's okay. It's okay. I'm happy to be back, and my class is winding down. So I've just got 2 more days on Friday and Monday. And then my schedule will start getting back to normal. I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety over the past 3 weeks. It just so happens to coincide with the time frame that I have not been doing my podcast. I think that's very interesting. So we're just going to keep that in our back pocket and remember that and see how things shift when I'm able to start picking this up daily again. I miss it. I miss talking about what's going on between my ears. So that's what we're going to do today. What I wanted to talk about today is acceptance. And I know that it's often that I'll talk about something that I have talked about before, but I feel very much like as the topics arise again, I'm in a whole different place in my life. I could talk about acceptance today and then talk about it next month, and it'll look totally different for me. So I know that there are some of you who have been listening. Thank you so much listening for the length of time that I've been doing this, which is 3 years, which is amazing. I'm getting ready to start my fourth season, which is crazy that I've been so dedicated. There's only maybe one other thing I've been dedicated to so consistently, and that is my sobriety program. So I just really enjoy it. I think it's really healthy for me. So I hope that when you hear a topic arise that you've heard before, that it affects you in the same way. That's why I love going to my AA meetings, because no matter how many times a topic comes up, it meets me where I'm at in my life. So acceptance came up in my in-person meeting that I go to on Monday nights. And what each person's share opened up with was whether or not they like this neighborhood. And I felt compelled to share. Well, I've been trying to share every week because I want people to, I guess, get to know me the way that I'm getting to know them through their shares. So I felt very compelled to, of course, share about the fact that I moved here on purpose in this new neighborhood and I love it. And I have so much more access to things that I didn't have access to where I lived previously, where we moved from, because everything is within the neighborhood and it's not so bothersome for my head to get in the car and ride just across the neighborhood. I have been practicing opening my eyes in the car. But I think that I've been, as you know, you longtime listeners, lifetime listeners, you know that I tend to push myself too far. And that's really what's been going on over the past 3 weeks. But um, I, I really wanted to take this class, and I really want to be able to go to AA meetings in person. So I'm trying to stretch myself, and I'm hoping that by doing that, things will normalize as long as I get into a routine. So I'm going to my in-person meeting on Mondays. I I have not been able to go to church in person because I'm participating in something else on Saturdays. I mean, it's sporadic. So this past Saturday there was a craft fair in the neighborhood, and I really wanted to go to that. So I did that, and then the next day was not able to go to church in person. So the positive thing is that I get to listen to church online, even though it's just a mile down the road. It's just too much sometimes for me to go into that environment. There's like a big screen in front of us within the church room. I don't know. It's like a like a big room. It's not the main one with the pews and everything, but I can't think, like a community center type feel to it. Anyway, there's a big screen up there, and of course, people all around. There's lights for Christmas, so it's just been a little much. But I'm trying to get into a routine. And as I'm moving through this uncomfortable time, physically uncomfortable time, there's been a lot of feelings that come up. Like when my head starts hurting really bad, I start having I guess, question, like lack of confidence, I guess, in my choices, lack of confidence that I'm going to feel better. It's just that same old invisible illness that I've always had. The depression and anxiety just starts to bubble up inside me. And I've been having a lot of like panic attack symptoms for the past 3 weeks. So my heart palpitations, like that feeling that I know lots of people feel it, where your heart is like skipping a beat or it's beating too early or something like that. And feel a little lightheaded. That's what I've been feeling. I'm very accustomed to that feeling because of my anxiety that I've dealt with over the years. But lately, I don't typically have that, especially for long periods of time. So I've been accepting that although it's not something that I want, it's something that is a part of me. And if I can accept it and understand that it's not going to kill me, then it's easier for me to move through it. And the same is it's like the mentality that I've adopted through my stroke recovery, through my vestibular disorder, my disability, through sobriety, really. I was sharing in my peer recovery class that we got the opportunity to share our story. So when I was sharing my story, I was talking about what I've shared with you all, that I really, in the early phase of my stroke recovery, I thought maybe one day I'll be grateful that I had my stroke. Maybe like what comes out of my stroke will be something that's better than what I had before. And although I have a lot of gifts that I have discovered since my stroke, I still am not not trying to reach for gratitude that I had my stroke. I'm just accepting that I had my stroke. I don't have to like something to accept it. And I can't move forward until I accept where I am. So I wanted to talk about that acceptance again, that denial that I felt the first few times I tried to stop drinking is what kept me stuck. I kept trying to hide it, not just hide the alcohol, but hide that I wanted the alcohol. That was the dangerous part. Not just trying to control the alcohol, but hiding how much I wanted it. I was trying to, as I mentioned, I think last week, I was trying to outthink it. And somebody shared in one of my meetings, and I loved it, that you can't use intellect in a situation that requires wisdom, meaning that I had to experience the hard stuff in order to gain the wisdom to know what to do next, the next right thing. The moment that I accepted the truth that my life was never going to be the same thing that happened after I had my stroke, when I accepted that my life was never going to be the same and that it was unmanageable the way that I was trying to live it, that's when the ground shifted beneath me. When I refused to accept that I was an alcoholic, I drank again. When I refused to accept that my stroke left permanent brain damage and the disability that I was experiencing was something that wasn't going to change, no matter how hard I tried, that's when I started healing. That's when I started being able to surface joy again. That was the beginning of my healing in every situation I've been in so far. And I still have to make a daily decision to accept where I'm at. And where I'm at is different. Like I said, it's different every day. And it's like I have to accept it all over again. So today, my husband took me to go get my nails dids, and I got them Christmas red. And I'm super excited because I haven't had my nails done in a really long time. I had been doing it myself. And there's something nice about just going to the salon and sitting back and having somebody else do it. Um, but while I was sitting there, I just had this like screaming headache. And I was thinking, oh, I wish I could just sit back and relax without a headache. I wish that I didn't have to wear these glasses and I could actually look at the colors of the like different nail things and stuff like that. And that wishing, that is like emotional resistance. That is like a lighter version of anger, fear, grief over who I used to be. And I need to, in times like that, just brace against the reality of my disability and accept that this is where I'm at. And this is my only way of moving forward. This is my only path. If I am just sitting, it's like if I'm in a room with a door and I can pound on the walls all day long and there's not going to be another door that opens. I have to walk through the door that's there. And that is what accepting my disability is. When I stop fighting myself, that's when I start living. That's when I get to continue to build my new version of my life. And it's not so bad. It's really not so bad. My heart palpitations have been pretty unnerving, but I coincidentally, or not, I don't know, had a cardiologist appointment. So I'm in my new neighborhood. I'm starting to establish care with new doctors. So I got to meet with a new cardiologist who was wonderful. The people here are so nice. Not like they weren't nice there, but it's a whole different level of nice. The more south you go, I believe this, the more south you go, the nicer people become. So I went there. I told her that I had been having heart palpitations for the past um, 3 weeks or so. It really started when my daughter had her car accident, and it just hasn't stopped. It's almost like it triggered something in me, and it doesn't know how to stop. I don't know. But I told her I'm very familiar with the feeling, and I don't think it has anything to do with AFib. As many of you know, I do have a loop monitor that monitors whether I have AFib or not. So far, so good. I don't have AFib. They're going to check my record or the report that comes out every month. They're going to check it over the past 3 weeks and see if indeed everything's fine. And I suspect that it is. But um, having that feeling, it's almost like PTSD, really. It when I feel that my heart's beating like that, because what'll happen is it feels like my heart just like races all of a sudden, and then I get like a little bit of pressure like in my neck, and I feel dizzy, and then it's gone. And it's a panic attack. That's what my panic attack feels like. I'm fortunate enough that it stops and I can accept that's what it is. And I breathe and I tell myself, this is anxiety. It's not going to last forever. And by doing that real quick acknowledgement, I believe that that keeps me from spiraling. Um, and with the headache, I think also acknowledging it and accepting it. And as long as I can function on a certain level, like there's a certain level of pain that my head will reach where I can't function. And then I need to lay down. It was just getting to that when I got back from getting my nails done and I took an Aleve. So there's a certain level of pain that an Aleve will take the edge off. And since I took it about a half an hour ago, the edge has been taken off and then I can still function. Should I lay down? Probably, but but I'm a glutton for punishment and I really wanted to record today. Um, so these chronic symptoms that I have um, are really, they signal me to practice relaxing, practice grounding, practice accepting. I mean, the what I was trying to say earlier, and I kind of forgot mid thought, was that when I feel some of those panic attack feelings, it puts me right back into what it was like when before I stopped drinking. And I remember how just absolutely debilitating it was. I remember feeling like the world was closing in on me. Like the room was closing in on me. Like I needed to escape from my body. It was terrifying. And and I remember that, and it's kind of a good thing that I remember that because I don't want to feel that way anymore. I don't. I know that that was something that my mind created for me, and it caused my panic to spiral. And so acceptance is also kind of like practicing trust and trusting that um I guess that I'm taken care of. I think that as I've been learning or building a relationship with my own version or my own higher power, um, I'm learning to hand things over. And I think that that's a little bit of what I'm doing when I'm breathing through that panic feeling or trying to calm myself down so that my head will relax, is I'm just putting trust in whatever you think of your higher power or the universe or whatever, just relaxing into where I am. I don't need to predict what's going to happen. I don't need to try to control it because I can't. I can't control any of this stuff. Um, I don't need to avoid that uncertainty though. Like there's major freedom in saying I don't know. I don't know how long my symptoms are going to last. I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. Am I going to be able to show up? I don't know. That doesn't mean that I don't plan, that I don't. I have an appointment tomorrow morning for a hair appointment. Yeah, I'm getting all my stuff done. But I have an appointment for my hair, and so I'm not like avoiding that uncertainty of what tomorrow's going to look like. And strangely, having that uncertainty now is becoming a trigger for me to breathe because I'm not responsible for solving anything. All I need to do is show up. That's my only responsibility. Um, Acceptance is turning that fear of I don't know into a freedom of I don't know. And my sobriety taught me that. And my stroke has reinforced it. And the only way that I was able to learn these lessons is from the experience. Like I had heard, I can't think my way through this stuff. Even though I try, I think that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast is because I can't turn off my thinker. So this podcast allows me to think through and recognize that I'm trying to think through, um, and and remind myself that I'm only going to gain this wisdom through experience. And I've been gaining a lot of freaking wisdom over the past 9 years since I've been sober. And I'm thinking of some of you who listen, and I see you gaining wisdom over the years too. And it's really cool. And I'm excited that to be a part of your life and your journey. There's there's a quote by Brene Brown that says, vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and change. And this quote was introduced to me early in sobriety, and I had it on my office whiteboard. I had it magnetized up there, whatever. I had it up there. And what it taught me was that whatever I want to happen, whatever I'm afraid of, the only option, the only door in the room is to do it. Do the thing that I'm afraid of, because that is where I can be more creative. I was a marketing director, so that made sense to me. Um, that is where I can be more innovative. And I always tried to color outside the lines in my job and help other departments and be innovative. And I had the opportunity to be innovative in my last year there. And I was able to create something for the company that they didn't have and they were looking to have. And I was able to do that. And vulnerability is also I learned the only way to really embrace and walk through change. And that has become so true for me. So, what that quote has done for me is it's made me not so afraid of my anxiety. And since I've been feeling that anxiety lately, that quote has been coming back up for me. The thing is that when I feel this kind of panic attack symptoms, I don't know what I'm afraid of. I don't know what it's like. I'm in the room and there is no door. I can't figure out what it is that I need to do. So I just slowly keep trying to do. If I don't know what the thing is that's making me scared is, then I just do all the things and slowly the anxiety will dissipate. And that has been true for me over the years as well. I know you know what I'm talking about. When you just feel like, I don't know, I'm a little uptight, something's wrong, and I don't know what it is. That's it. That's what I'm feeling. But my symptoms are very noticeable for me. Nobody else can tell. It's something that I would have to communicate to you for you to know that I've got this happening on the inside of me. But it's very real for me. And it's no different than accepting any other disability, because that's what it is. I'm learning that in my peer recovery class, that mental health is oh so debilitating. It can be, and and if I don't look at it, then it can become a severe disability, and it is for some people. So I think the first step is accept it, accept that I've got it. And when I was able to accept that I was afraid of things at work, I was afraid to public speak at work, then I read an amazing book that helped me do public speaking at work, and I got better at it. Once I started doing the thing that made me scared, despite the fact that I was scared, I started to get better at it. And when I accepted that, look, I'm an alcoholic and I'm going to be an alcoholic for the rest of my life, I couldn't accept that in the beginning because I was so focused on living one day at a time that I couldn't even imagine that I'm going to have to do this for the rest of my life. Today, I can accept that this is my way of life for the rest of my life. And once I have been able to accept that, I've been able to live better this way. Be sober enough, emotionally sober enough to help other people, to um, to do my podcast. And the vulnerability I find is is not something that weakens me. It actually activates my purpose. Vulnerability activates my purpose. Um, and as much as acceptance feels so elusive sometimes, like it doesn't feel like an action, it feels passive. It feels like something that you just decide, you don't talk about it. But acceptance is the most courageous vulnerability that there is. And again, it's not something that happens once, it happens every day. It happens every day for me in my sobriety with my physical symptoms from my vestibular disorder, um, with my cognitive challenges, finding the right words. That depending on the day, the time of day, that can be really frustrating unless I accept it, unless I just relax into it. I mean, even that is sometimes challenging for me to sit back and be like, all right, you know what? It's okay that you can't find the words. And the other day, actually, it was just a few days ago, I was trying to talk to my husband and I realized it was just too hard. I could not say a sentence. I couldn't. I couldn't put a sentence together. And I just stopped and I just breathed and I was like, I just can't talk. That's what I said. And that was the end. And he didn't question me or anything like that. And that was acceptance. That was like a momentary um, need for acceptance in order to not start getting frustrated. So sometimes it's not even a daily decision. It's like multiple times a day acceptance. Acceptance with my relationships, my recovery, acceptance with uncertainty, acceptance with anxiety, like all day long acceptance. And if I can accept where I'm at, then I can be honest and I can be courageous. And I think being honest with myself eliminates that frustration. Um, Acceptance is stopping that resistance, that war against reality. I'm not fighting my alcoholism. I'm not fighting my disability. I'm not fighting my anxiety. Um, I'm not fighting the I don't know, the not knowing what the future holds. And again, it's practice, not perfection. What? That doesn't sound right to me. Practice, not perfection. I don't know, whatever. But I'm not doing it perfect every day, but I get to practice it every day. And that's when I feel more serenity and I feel more freedom. And I wouldn't feel it at all. I wouldn't feel it at all if it wasn't for my freaking program. I'm so grateful that I am an alcoholic. I am. That's one thing that I am grateful for. Um, because it has changed who I get to be in life. My alcoholism, recovery from it, through the steps, through the 12 steps has changed who I get to be. And and that means I get to be more gentle with myself. I get to be brave even when courage feels like fear. And I get to be rooted in faith. I don't think I would have that either if it wasn't for my program. So I'm really grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be able to record a podcast episode. And thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, I will talk to you tomorrow.